Hello, my name is Vanessa, and I will be discussing Chapter 10, the subculture perspective, from the book Substance Use and Abuse by Victor Shaw. So basically, we're gonna go into it now. The first title in the chapter that it discusses, it talks about the subculture perspective and the meanings. Basically, it focuses on the inner workings of substance users, groups, and groupings. It examines what beliefs, values, norms, and rituals users develop and follow, and preserving and sustaining their substance abuse. It also speaks about the props, tools, aids, and equipment users innovate and employ in preparing substances for use, in administrating substances, or in sanctifying use itself. It explores why users come together and what keeps them in solidarity with each other. It also talks about the related subcultures, of substance, basically with the youth, prostitutes, gangs, and deviant subcultures, such as the relations. Basically, talks about the relations between the substance use as cause and the consequences, the causes and the consequences of the substance abuse. So another title is The Source of Inspiration. It basically talks about the different, I basically talked about the different sociologists that I can name. One of them is Frederick Trasher and William White. They represent the earliest writings on subculture. They basically created a thesis by their research of the Italian slum, Cornerville. Basically, slum is the poverty society, where the poor, lower class poor is in. Also, they speak about the lower class residents can achieve success through some opportunities. Basically, lower class blue collar work can and may be affordable by the slum culture, some lower, class work environments. Another one is by Albert Cohen and Robert Merton. Their beliefs is how the delinquent subculture arises by location of the social structure in combination of the Sutherland notion of deviance, learning in the learning of Merton's theory, the strain, social strain. Basically, Merton's theory strain is basically states that crime is committed by people that are given false hope and achievement by society, although are faced with limited opportunities. In other words, explaining the general accountability of individuals in the middle class versus lower class, or the poor communities an individual is raised in and must be accountable for his or her norms of being in within their society. It also explains the difference in achieving goals and how goals differ from middle class to lower class. A quote I have is basically states the process in which a person openly rejects that which he wants or aspires to but cannot obtain or achieve. Quote, Showmaker, 1984. Another one that interests me was learning about the study of Richard Cloward and Lloyd Holland. I'm sorry if I'm missaying their name, but they focus on the delinquent subculture, on delinquents and opportunity. basically they speak about the youth joining criminal networks, and learn proper techniques to, they join these networks to learn proper techniques, and basically motivate them to motivate and connections that they have with the older criminals. So also another one is criminals subculture forms to support and sustain crime as means towards profit and material. So basically they join these criminal groups to gain their support. I mean, not just their support, but to gain profit, and material, because because of their class, they have, they're poor, they have no other resources, but just in this in the world of crime. Also, non-existing role models they have, so they also rely on, the adult criminals. Basically, they also basically detour. They are taught, or they learned different techniques, such as not only just techniques but also emotion, like feelings and violence. They get into the violence, to the anger, anxiety, just to demonstrate like courage and toughness. It becomes a conflict culture. Basically, it talks about this because they gain status. That's considered them getting their status in a criminal environment, criminal group environment. So they must show like their anger and the violence, and also it's also learned, you know. Also, other sociologists that I found very interested as well was the Cloward and Olin. Continue. Basically acts of delinquency that reflect subculture support are likely to recur with great frequency. Access to successful adult, basically criminal careers, sometimes result from participation in a delinquent subculture. And delinquent subculture imparts to the conduct of its members a high degree of stability and resistance to control or change. So basically that's what happens when that's like the beginning of being in a criminal gang, in a criminal gang group. So another thing is basically Marvin, Wolfgang, and Franco Ferracuti basically speak about the subculture of violence in the lower class neighborhoods. Young men are much more prone to become violent due to their upbringing of experiencing seen violence being committed within their household and the environment outside their household. Also, Walter Miller describes the lower class culture of juvenile gangs, and then he also describes the 6 vocal concerns amongst youths raised in lower class neighborhoods, which are trouble. One of them is trouble. Basically, they get into trouble and violence, violent acts, misbehaviors. Also, concerns of toughness. They need to prove themselves. They need to prove that they're tough enough and strong enough to, to defend themselves and defend the family. Especially if they come from a home environment where the mother is only the mother at the household, and without a young male raised without a father. So that's where their concern of the toughness comes in. And then also concern of smartness. They need to basically prove themselves that they can outsmart outsmart any problems, conflicts, or situations they are facing or face within the gang or their household. Also, concern of overexcitement, another vocal. Basically, risk takers, like dangerous is, danger is excitement for them because they jeopardize not only their life, but they jeopardize other people's lives. And in this environment, that is what excites these individuals. And also concern over luck, basically take riskers, gamble their life, basically within different ways of finding any form of goods in their life. In the six is concern is over autonomy, basically control of their being. So they want to feel empowered, and they want to feel like empowered to the point where they don't want to be controlled or be told what to do by authority or parents or guardians or anyone. Like they kind of rule their life and themselves. Another sociologist that kind of is talks about the five key elements. One of them is the common values and norms, unique lingo and argots, common styles and fads, distinctive forms of mass media, distinctive criteria for status. Basically, youth cultures serve youth cultures youth subcultures serve youth three major purposes in regards to those. Basically, is a sense of belonging, gratification of specific needs, and social support. Basically, substance use studies using the concept of perspective and subculture divide into two major groups. It also examines the various subcultures like race, ethnicity, and so on. And the other one is drug subculture, and many of its submarines from narcotics, wine, basically drug dealers, sellers, and drug abstinence subcultures. I have a quote, and it's by Victor Shaw, and it states, drug culture varies by community, type of drug, race, language, and social class. It is shaped by two basic forces. A, the need for group recognition and collective justification for drug use as a socially stigmatized behavior, and B, the need for protection against law enforcement officials who view drug use as an illegal behavior. Quote, Victor Shaw. So another thing is another title, we'll go on to another title, is the theoretical framework. Basically, the subculture perspective involves substance use as a collective behavior, a segment of group of people that share beliefs and values in regards to certain substance and attitudes. Two major components. Two major components. The definition I got from culture in this chapter is another word for life. However, the two major components of it is one spiritual or not one spiritual or non-spiritual culture, and then the other one, which basically references beliefs, norms, values, and then the other one would be behavior or material culture, basically the acts, the deeds, the creation, material achievement, homes, cars, outside culture, outside belongings or things. The thing is that subculture is shared a way of life among group of people in society. The subculture builds amongst what we call life cultures, but differs. It differs because subculture consists of various cultures amongst a group of people in society. In regards to substance culture, there is many ways for consuming the substance, obtaining, creating networks to use and or maintain using They're using lifestyles. Another title is the theoretical image, which is the substance. It's a quote. Substance can serve as a material base for a subculture to grow and thrive. Victor Shaw. And basically, another title is the theoretical components. It's the internal structure and external relation, material and non-material. Material elements, substance, subculture builds upon visible objects such as tobacco, coffee, cocaine, marijuana, heroin. The way substance looks, shapes, forms, how it's made. And then that was the material element, and then the non-material element is the substance includes knowledge, skills, techniques, beliefs, basically how and what a substance user experiences throughout the use of substances. Another title is theoretical application, questions and thoughts, of the substance culture users and what they face throughout using substances, and how substances cultures are formulated to function in different environments in society. Another title is the empirical test. Basically, what it means is it gives a frame of perspectives to empirical research. Basically, controlled, like dissecting, the substance of culture, depths of the reasons of use, control, abstinence, and normality of the subculture. Another title is policy implications, the approach of both substance use and social response to it as culturally embedded behaviors. The public health basically is the reactions of medical professions about the views and education, knowledge of the substance and the substance users, understanding both the views of both substance users and the medical professionals when treating when treating the abuser or the user, sorry. Social control. The social control agents are basically the law enforcement and how they view the user, and basically their behavior, and also these users of substance users are allowed and their human rights, in the court of law when they're facing the judge, or as well, come into contact with the police officer. They still are treated or given their human rights. And the life and community basically is the substance culture is viewed by certain people in a negative perspective. They perception too. Their perception of us user is negative. They're criminals. They're low lives, low class, and so on, and and always the ones to be blamed for. However, on the contrary, with family, if humans like treat abusers as substance users, they are able to, and they treat them well, and support them. They have an opportunity and possibly able to change their life and recover from their bad habits and the using part. And work and organization can also alter a human or an individual to rely on drugs or substances, any type of substances, because of under pressure, long hours, stress, and so on. And also organizations can also play a big part in substance subculture users, because of the fact that organizations can be for certain substances and advocate for them, or some can't or won't. So that's basically sums up my presentation, and I hope I was a little informative, at least a little. And thank you for listening, and have yourself a great